Welcome back to the NASTAR League studio. Thank you for joining us again. We are currently in the midst of the Open Premier Finals with Northwood taking on Fisher. And Fisher looking to get a bit of revenge against the Timberwolves for yesterday's performance in the Rocket League Open Premier Final, where Northwood pretty soundly beat the Falcons, but now looking at a 2-0 line in the Falcons' favor, Dallin, I would say Fisher is fighting back strong.
I mean, I said at the very beginning, I mean, Fisher is a very strong team. We've seen it time and time again, so.
And we're going to be moving on toward Flashpoint to decide it all. And Northwood starting Flashpoint off pretty well, has already brought it up to 90%. And of course, it's Servasta. There was no reason to even predict this at all. It's always been Servasta. Fisher taking it back at the very last moment. Raker will get a pick onto Sam. Now they'll start the timer ticking up in their favor.
We're going against the odds.
Thing about these Flashpoint maps is they're so huge because you gotta have 5 different points on them. That heroes like that Lucio or heroes with just kind of a run ability or just quick on their feet really pay dividends here. Fisher will take the high ground, wait for Northwood's point. It's Genji moving a bit forward.
Trying to turn this around as quick as they can before Northwood's able to attempt to get back on point.
1-1 team fight. Northwood has the first flashpoint, and they'll get a huge pick onto Fisher's tank. Despite the Kitsune rush was spent by Fisher, now Gravitic also being used by Northwood. Catch a few players off guard. Maywall will head up for Northwood in pursuit of Rocket. They manage to get their pick, and they steal the flashpoint back away from Fisher. Great job by the Timberwolves. Timer is ticking down. Unless this Doomfist can really do anything, can only really touch the point to try to keep the overtime going. But point will go over to Northwood.
I was going to say, this Doomfist is the master of just peeping in and leaving as soon as possible, as soon as things look dire. But unfortunately, it was not quite enough for him to try and take back the point. Nor do I think it's going to be enough for him to 1v5 this entire team.
Yeah, he's going to move back.
Yeah.
Going around for a flank, though. He sees his Baptiste, will say, thank you, I'll take that. Moves on in and making the support's life very difficult with a solo meteor strike as well. He wants this support no matter what, but will be forced back off.
This one hurts. Oh.
The tragic end to a tragic tale.
That was... Yeah, it was tragic.
I mean, and while that was all happening, Northwood claimed the point anyway, so we saw the most tragic side story to this first fight.
You truly cannot beat the system.
Actuating the barrier.
That system being one single support.
You can't beat that system. You might want to start rethinking things. Also might want to start rethinking what sidelines you take with Haven with that railgun, getting rid of Lukewarm in a split second. Now getting even more ground for themselves, trying to take out this Genji. At half health, we'll see the Blizzard be spent by Northwood. Taking more space and pushing Fisher off. Ooh, another nice shot.
Yep. Wow. I'm still sore after all of the Sojourn at the beginning of beta. Just the nightmare that was the rail cannon. Ugh. I know that she's a lot more balanced now, but every single time.
But still consistently picked.
Yeah, still consistently picked. Interesting. It's just, there's just something about the whole, you know, one click. And I see it nowadays, I'm like, man, they need to nerf her. Even though she's been nerfed several times, I'm like, man, they should do it again. And gonna be trying a different character this time, no longer the Doomfist.
Moving in, Fisher College manages to get one pick against Haven. They use Kitsune Rush to start the fight. Northwood takes a flank route. It's going to require Fisher to use their own Maywall to shield. Window placed down for a whole bunch of damage. Going after the Falcons. They have to go indoors now as they slowly make their way toward Palace. Galman and Sam get a pick onto both of the supports for the Falcons. Probably means another flashpoint taken for the Timberwolves.
You're going to see a signal ult, potentially usable. that third point is going to start picking up.
Supernova!
Yeah, Sumo, what he said.
Well, it certainly feels that explosive right now, how Northwood has just turned things around.
Just waiting for the perfect opportunity. It's looking a little bit. He's got to wait for him to turn this corner, and then he'll probably start using it. Oh, never mind. They're all going to push up there. No, never mind.
Managed to get the high ground taken away. Lukewarm gets a pick onto Landon. I don't know if the Gravitic actually landed anybody there. That's a huge whip if that happened, and Fisher gets another pick. It's traded back by Cowman.
Right, a little bit of a turnaround here. Gotta take out that Sojourn. Now.
Falcons hanging on by just a thread. Got the Terra Surge and the Blizzard. So does Northwood also has a Blizzard. They've also got the Overclock. Terra Surge brought out, puts a lot of damage onto Vega, just deletes him instantly. And that's a huge support now gone for Northwood. They still move in, mowing down that Orisa. Mate fight being brought out. That's a huge Blizzard by Northwood. Freezing Fisher in place, or at least a few of their members. The rest have gone off the point. There's a lot of ground given up. One of them is going to have to touch this point very soon as we go past 90 for the Timberwolves.
And just like that.
Well, okay then. Northwood's found second life.
Still in this. Very much still in this. And play of the game. Oh, hey, you know what? I love a good support play of the game. Those are my favorites.
Well, Baptiste, arguably, same thing as I was saying with Zen earlier, can put out a whole bunch of damage on his own, so.
True. I mean, it's just always fun to see, though. I mean, just for the sake of them being a support character, it's entertaining.
Yeah, I'm always glad to see a little bit of love being thrown out towards all of the team. So now we have Northwood officially on the board, moving on into push, which has kind of relatively few options available for it. Toronto,
Coliseum,
which are probably the two, we named the first two, which are probably not going to be picked because we don't see those too often. I mean, we have seen them a handful of times. It hasn't been as shut out as, you know, Servasta on Flashpoint or Eichenwald and Kings Row on Hybrid. So,
but hey, maybe we'll have another Paraiso moment. Maybe we'll see something
maybe
like
we will, but it's the first time that Fisher gets choice of map as well, so we don't actually really know about. I'm getting preschool flashbacks right now. I see a clue. Do you see a clue?
I was gonna say something about that. I have been waiting for so long for the right opportunity to talk about Blue's Clues. Thank you. You have no idea.
Everyone's yelling at their TV screen right now.
You have
Yeah, I like Servasta too. All right, let's move on.
I have been waiting so long for the opportunity to just say Blue's Clues, and you stole it.
I'm so glad I could be here to do that, and you called it.
Things are finally turning around for me. It's finally turning around. Coliseum, I called it. I didn't call it, but in the way that I said, well, maybe something will be different. I was right. So I take this as another win.
Well, here we go. The Timberwolves going up against Fisher. This is the last stand here. The Timberwolves have to play perfectly from here on out to drive it toward Escort. Of course, Coliseum, the first few minutes can be a bit grindy because we're in that long hallway of the Coliseum. There's one thing that's better than throwing out a reference I like. It's throwing out a reference that Dallin wanted to say first.
Yeah, it's a common pastime for you to steal the jokes before I say them. So thanks again. I'm not upset. You're upset. You're upset. Not me. I'm fine.
We'll just leave the perfectly mentally healthy Dallin over here in the corner, rocking back and forth a little bit while we get onto the actual match. Lukewarm has brought out the Hanzo, so a bit of opportunity for some long-range snipes being brought out. I mean, Northwood still has Haven on the Sojourn. Brought out this Genji, but no longer is the Ana out there, so we'll just have to rely on sort of a dry blade instead of an actual nano one. And yeah, starting things off in typical kind of poke back and forth in this long hallway. Trying to see who maybe flanks around, puts themselves in a bad position.
Just waiting for the Orsa to peek around the small little corridors. There we go. We got a visual.
Also, this Zarya is an interesting choice. We haven't seen Zarya picked as much since the big nerf, but I mean, for a lot of the season, she was just kind of an auto pick #1. Especially in that short thing where, and I think it's still active, the bubble is larger if you place it on someone other than yourself, so that can make some of your DPSs really, if they're going in for a back row flank, that could be huge, and Zarya still manages to hang on despite all the damage Raker is trying to push through. That's a nice javelin thrown out, but it's not going to be enough. Fisher is having to give up ground as Northwood charges forward.
Trying to keep Raker alive right now. It's just, once again, still that back and forth.
Moving in from the side, trying to divert this Zarya's attention, but there's just no target focus right now. It's going on to everyone here, and they're just finding no one. As a result, Vega does manage to find Rocket.
Ooh, there, okay, all right. Raker is going to go down. We might actually see some sort of push.
Cybernetic innovation at its finest.
But it takes about 2 minutes of just pure hallway before we actually get out into the stage.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
Our casting colleague, Artie, Nerdy Bird, is proven right yet again that it's a few minutes of hallway before we get to anything really of substance in Coliseum. And it's hard to push here too, just because of all the high ground the defenders get off the spawn.
Forget this called Coliseum.
And now we're back in the hallway.
And we're back in the hallway. Good old hallway. All reliable. He was hitting that for a little bit. Did you see? Does the big robot have a name, by the way?
If you want to give it a nickname and that'll make you feel better, I will allow you to have it.
Dennis.
Okay, Dennis.
Dennis was kind of moving for a little bit. He had a little bit of like a sidestep going. Big fan. Big Dennis fan.
Meanwhile, off to the side, away from Dennis, we are seeing this Genji Blade be brought out, only used against really the Immortality field. Nice way to kind of cancel out that ultimate. Fisher is hanging on, but a whole bunch of ground is being gained by Northwood as they go past 40 meters. Another pick for them, and this
might even be
a really bad stagger placed onto Fisher. But Ash manages to get away, so it won't be too bad.
Ooh, trying to get around and get to that May, but it's just going to be a decision that's not quite worked out. Nerf. We need a nerf right now. Every single time I see someone right click and someone is dead, and just that guy can go down a peg.
Meanwhile, Landon, he isn't going to care about Nurse. He's just going to do what he can on his own. Picks up a double. Isn't enough to turn the whole tide of the fight, though. Fisher now back to start. There's a lot of ground to make up. Respawns coming in for Northwood. Fisher does have one ultimate where Northwood doesn't have any, so this could be very crucial. Northwood will back off to getting a bit of high ground advantage to aim for.
Trying to get a little bit of that tip damage. Oh, wait, at least switched to Zarya. I didn't even notice. Whoops. All right.
Well, I'm sure you're going to notice Bob being brought out onto the playfield, but how much mileage is he going to get with all these off angles that Northwood is taking? They're staying out of the sidelines from everything Fisher is throwing. Graviton Surge now online. Zarya is only to 50% though, but goes up to 70.
Pulls up the
huge threat, but gets mowed down by the other Zarya.
Wow. That was not how they wanted it to go.
Trade back and forth, but it's still ground game for Fisher. Trying to make their way back. Pick up that forward spawn advantage. But it's still a long ways till we get there. Robot taken back by Northwood.
We're going to be taking that all the way back. Dennis has got so much to do. He's so busy. He's always got somewhere to be.
Sam taking a bunch of damage off to the side. Bit of a flank attempt trying to come out by Fisher.
We are going
And trying to snipe out that Lucio, but he's got the Mei in tow. Gonna take that much harder.
Dennis doesn't know what to do. Oh, grab is gonna go out. Is only gonna pull in the Zarya. Doesn't look like that's gonna.
Nah, that was rather anticlimactic.
Yeah. Well, things are all right. And
Slowly in favor of Fisher. That's a big win for them. It doesn't allow any huge territory to be gained back by Northwood. A little bit of a stagger as well. A very well-charged Zarya, past 80%. We'll try to move forward to make sure that charge doesn't go down too far. Maybe get someone to peek out, put a bubble onto them, get back up to 100. Moves in, yeah, back up to 92, and a whole bunch of damage now ready to come out from this tank. Fisher has almost evened this up. Bob will be eliminated by Haven. Fisher still has a few ultimates left. They will use one of them, the Amplification Matrix. Neb eliminates Vega. Blizzard also thrown out onto Northwood. Fisher using everything they can to try to get these picks, to try to get that all-crucial checkpoint and forward spawn. Is having a lot of trouble running into Northwood right now.
I mean, with that Zarya full charge, it's hard to get a good start on like trying to turn this fight around. It's extremely strong.
Haven just waiting up here to push as much damage as they can to whoever peeks through. The Mei wall goes up. Immortality field spent and beat as well for Fisher. They managed to survive all of that. Coming in though, Haven. They weren't expecting that backline attack at all. They'll pay a few members for it, but at the very end of the fight, the Falcons do claim the checkpoint and will tie this up officially.
And now Fisher is in the lead. So he's got to walk all the way back around, and during that amount of time, Northwood has got a handle of Dennis once again. I don't know. It's stuck. It's stuck really quick. It's just Dennis now to me.
Wow, this is a very uncomfortable corner to be in for Raker. Everything was being pushed on, and those bubbles could only last so long. Sam and Haven will get credit for those eliminations. Northwood now looking to gain back a whole bunch of ground, and that pick onto Lukewarm is huge as well. We'll be back to the checkpoint in no time at all, and very close to taking the lead. Grace is going to move in there just to contest it, try to keep this from being tied up. Graviton Surge spent by Fisher. Bob also available in terms of the ultimates. Northwood will use their own ult. They're using the Blizzard. They're not even having to use the beat. They still manage to turn around and they take back the lead.
What a fight. How many ults was that in that span of a second?
About 2 to 3, probably 3, I think.
It just seems so overwhelming whenever I see a male thrown out. It's just like, well, I guess I'm dead.
You know, those particle effects in Overwatch always make things look very chaotic.
Yes, exactly. I'm glad you said it before I did.
Always happy to do so. Meanwhile, Northwood just running up the score, now past 115 in their push, 113, now 115 in their push. They still haven't spent this beat. Lukewarm hanging on to Bob right here. Will get Haven. I don't know if Fisher can really push forward as much as they want to all in one go.
Well, Northwood is going to take out Downman, so we're really going to see a big turnaround. This is going to have to be it right now.
Yeah, but you got to remember Northwood has that forward spawn, so they'll be able to in no time at all meet Fisher again, but they're all falling as they're going in one at a time.
Interesting.
Okay, it'll have to be a full reset or a full team fight, and both teams have their beat.
Gotta stay on the robot.
Can't move off of that objective. 1 second too long. Moving in, having to fight up against the high ground advantage. Moving in the Graviton Surge, but they got the beat and the Immortality Field. But still, their tank goes down. That's a huge loss for Fisher. Northwood moving on in.
Trying to keep that Lucy alive, but just is not enough. And that's going to take it 2-2.
Yep.
Well,
we are going to be moving on to Escort. I said it has happened too many times, but for the grand final, I would expect nothing less. And this time we'll have a bit of tank love be thrown out by the Zarya. And I mean, you're at 100. Left click to win. I mean, melt them on down. Look how fast that health melts away.
Unbelievable. I mean, if it was ever gonna happen, I imagine it should probably happen in the grand final. So, Escort, good.
So now we're all tied up. We can take a look at the maps behind us. We'll see very soon what is chosen for Escort, because I have to wonder if it is going to be Circuit Royale again, and whoever chooses it meets a world of misfortune yet again, because that's usually how it's gone.
Do I curl the monkey's paw and not the monkey's paw? Just do I wish once again for another Paraiso moment? Just to see it, to see another Circuit Royale.
Well, before we do, we want to give a thank you, a shout out to one of our sponsors, Truth. Truth is Asia's largest public health organization dedicated to a future where tobacco and nicotine addiction is a thing of the past. For more information about how vaping can affect your mental health, go to breathofstressair.com.
I don't know. Circuit Royale is pretty.
It is, which as we have clearly determined is the only thing that matters to you.
Yeah. There's no second point. It's just true. What other maps are there in Escort?
Escort. I mean, there's Dorito, obviously. That's usually, that was kind of, you know, back in Overwatch 1 days, that was chosen a good fair amount, so we could see Dorado being brought back into it. I don't know if we even see Junkertown. See, the whole thing is, we have seen Escort so little throughout this season that it's a little bit hard to find any sort of precedent for what's going to be picked, because I think we saw Circuit Royale 2 times, and then we really haven't seen anything. I'm trying to think back as hard as I can to everything that's happened over an A-Star League season, but I can really only remember the Dreams Destroyed on Circuit Royale.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to go once again for the least played map and see if maybe they'll play it because it would be cool. I want to see Junkertown.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Do I even say it? Do I even have to say it? Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. It looks pretty. You didn't say it.
I didn't say it. Instead, this could be a realm of broken dreams for Fisher if they lose their choice, Circuit Royale. Will the pattern hold? And will, for all of fall 2023, the team that it's chosen Circuit loses on it? We'll have to see, because if Northwood wins, they'll have pulled off the reverse sweep. We'll have 3 paw prints, and then we can head on over to the thinking chair and bask in the glory of Northwood pulling off a spectacular reverse sweep.
I was just about to say something about, like, you know what they say about there being 3 Blues Clues, right? You go straight to the thinking chair.
I love my job. I really do
Once
sometimes.
again, I have been robbed of my, my one moment.
I know you have. But here's the thing. To be serious, the thing about Circuit Royale, which has destroyed so many players' dreams, is that Circuit Royale has very long sight lines, and if you have good snipers, then it is a pain to push through.
Extremely true. So many times, so many widows, nightmare.
Which I can see, Fisher, to all their credit, They're a school that has a lot of really good snipers, so I see the reasoning behind it. In the Varsity Premier Division, Fisher's team has had good luck on Circuit Royale as well, so maybe for the Open Premier, it is exactly the same. They're sharing strategies for the school as a whole. But as we move in, this is what you were hoping for. You at least got your favorite stage.
I did get my favorite stage. And that
was it. I wasn't going to let you hold anything else in terms of references.
Well, I got to see a Frozen Lucio too, and I got to watch him fall. That was great.
That was truth. You know, scene started out so well for you, and then
it's gone. My Blue's Clues moment, 2 times. Just what else do I have going for me anymore? I got to come up with a new bit now.
You do. I mean, you named the robot, so you have that.
True, yeah, but he's not coming back. Dennis is taking a nap, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. You could name the race car if you want, exactly. If you're that desperate.
I'm going to name him Dennis.
Dennis again?
I'm not very creative with names.
Okay. Is it just Dennis, or is there any sort of distinction at all between the two? Like Dennis 2?
I mean, there are multiple people in the world named Dennis, so just consider it a coincidence, you know?
All right.
Like, there are multiple people named Jacob, you know? You're not the only Jacob. And Dennis the Robot isn't the only Dennis. Now, there's a car that is also conveniently named Dennis, so.
It's always fascinating taking a trip into your weird little mind. Moving on to the final match we have in Overwatch 2. Northwood versus Fisher, 2 very bitter rivals because the 2 matches that we saw have been so close between the two. If Rocket League, if you were here yesterday, we had 2 matches of that best of 7 go into overtime. It was overall a 4-1 scoreline in terms of Northwood, but that really didn't sell the whole story about how competitive both of these teams were. Fisher matched Northwood shot for shot in a lot of scenarios, and they definitely have motivation to take out the Timberwolves, wanting to get revenge for their fallen Rocket League team who had the championship stolen away from them, and now they just have to go to Circuit Royale to decide it all. The other thing that we haven't mentioned about Fisher yet, but I do have to mention it, would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Fisher, in terms of Overwatch, has a bit of a habit of wanting it to go all 5 games before delivering the final blow.
That is true. That is true. I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, like, they took the first 2 games, and seeing Northwood take the second 2, I am much more inclined to believe that if you're taking the second 2 games, I think that means that you've adapted to their play style and are growing accustomed to how they are going to play, like, strategy-wise. I think that's some sort of mini evolution, you know.
All right, let's head on down to Circuit Royale. And this will be in daytime. We actually haven't, a lot of the stages we've been seeing today have been in kind of their off hours, their off-peak hours, if you were. Circuit Royale normally at night, Lijiang Tower also. But now we're seeing them in the daytime, which is just fine. And we get to see, of course, the fabled Monaco Speedway as well.
It looks pretty.
Thank you for your analysis.
Is that a spaceship?
It is a spaceship.
Wow. The future. It's so cool. There's so many things. There's even robots and cars named Dennis.
Yes, that have names, I'm reliably told.
They have names. They're all the same.
All right, moving on, and here's what I was talking about. Fisher's going to push forward first, and Northwood has it all lined up with the Widow and Hanzo. How much can they get? on through, just trying to hang out around this corner. I mean, this is a lot of ground to give up on the first push. We have seen in the previous instances of Circuit Royale it just being held to this archway a few times. So already some good ground gained by the attackers. They're playing close to the angles. They don't want to let this Widow have any room to move. Blizzard also thrown out. Not going to really find anything.
Just like that. As soon as that wall goes up, you know what's going to happen. It's just going to be merciless. And someone who was on that wall is no longer going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, in terms of offense, they've been taking on like this Widow and Hanzo on
out there.
in a really strong way. I don't want to say effortlessly, but it's been...
Well, they're both aware of each other's strategies and what sidelines they don't want to take.
Yeah.
They've been playing very well in that regard. You see Gravitic brought out, manages to take out Haven. Vega is next on the list for the attackers. Landon does manage to trade 1-for-1, but overall, this is the first real toehold that defense has gotten, and of course that great sideline you have right here that is not to be trifled with.
I just noticed. Zenyatta? Yay!
You are.
Big fan.
See how well Neb can do with that. Teleporter thrown out. Gain some ground or take a sneaky route through. Moving up the stairway, up toward the window, which has just been placed down. Photon Barrier will cancel that out, and the beat. Give them as much health as they can possibly get. And that is a huge wipe over there by the attackers, still moving forward.
Closer and closer.
As the teams are trying to push through. Getting very close to the checkpoint. Maywall will be thrown out. Transcendence brought out by that Zen. Vega gets the pick onto Rukit. Defense starting to chip, being chipped away just a little as the attackers get just a bit more time with that immortality field. Iron eliminates Cowman.
After taking that point, 4 minutes left to go. I mean that shows that they've been pretty unstoppable. I mean, if it's with that much time, that's ample.
Plenty of time to work with to get through to the hotel. And I don't know if I have seen, I've seen once during this season all three be chosen, but never have I seen it actually go into overtime on Circuit Royale. Cowman will start things out by bringing out the Gravitic. Haven eliminates Rukit. That's quite a sim teleport placed right on top of the May wall.
Gonna take Ashe into the fight temporarily with that wall as well.
Landon and Cowman continuing to put the hurt on.
Just like that, it's just gonna break straight through the wall, obviously. And yeah, I mean, in a word, unstoppable. It's just been repeatedly pushing through these pushes.
And a whole bunch of time left for potential overtime. It would have to be the first time that this has happened in the whole season. But this is to decide it all. This is to decide the championship. Who wins and walks away the victor? Will Northwood manage to sweep the first two championships in the Open Premier Division, or does Fisher take it all? Just get a few more seconds to wait before sides will swap, and I mean, as much as I've been talking about the snipers, we didn't really see them come into that much of play. I mean, I don't think I saw one pick by that Widow during the first third of this stage.
I mean, they pretty much got alienated as soon as they started throwing up the Sigma shields. Because once those are down, what do you do? I mean,
yeah, but I mean, there are also multiple angles that you can take on and multiple different elevation points that the snipers can take. So cancel one out, there were still a few options available, but yeah, you are right. Once those shields did go up, there wasn't really any huge adjustment so that they could take someone at an off angle. It's going to have to be a big hurdle to overcome moving through.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
all right, we are going to see a sim.
Everything is in Fisher's hands right now. Northwood has shown that they have gotten 3 points. And Fisher, with the map that they chose to push on, will it bite them back? Here we go. Both Maywalls are going to be thrown up immediately, making the playfield very busy as everyone's throwing their abilities back and forth. Now that everything's worn out, it's a bit of a firefight. Lukewarm takes a bit of damage, has to go back. Grapes with a melee takes out Vega. Fisher making a bit more room as they're moving past the first checkpoint, but here's another interesting thing about Northwood is they position themselves up a lot closer than Fisher did. Fisher was way back near this archway on their defense, whereas Northwood got a lot farther up. Now, it didn't matter too much in terms of the outcome. Both the defenses fell to start things off. Shows that both these teams might have a slightly different strategy when it comes to defending. There'll be at least one more full team fight for Northwood as they move in.
And once again, we're just seeing those Maywalls go out, and it's just going to be a beat-up wall. Oh, man. This Iron, he lives up to the name. He is not indestructible. Obviously, Iron isn't indestructible, but he is very, very tough.
A whole bunch of time left for Fisher, over 5 minutes as they claim that checkpoint. Northwood still has yet to win one team fight. It was about this time last on the attack that Fisher managed to win 1 or 2 team fights. So if they fall yet again, they will be way off the pace. Fisher said. Blizzard thrown out, making a bit of room for Fisher. It'll be answered back with a Blizzard from Northwood. Northwood comes rallying forward with a pick from Sam and Haven to make this match competitive again. Fisher being forced way back. At least their Sojourn makes their team all split up. This Baptiste, facing a whole lot of pressure, will be hunted down by Cowman and Grapes. So a bad stagger placed onto Fisher. Northwood needed a fight like that to burn time off of the time bank that the Falcons have.
Absolute team reset to the fullest degree. We are going to see, well, oh, okay, not quite. It is going to be,
that's a huge grab, but they have the beat. They can basically counter that, and Fisher also has their beat, so 2 grabs spent, 2 beats spent as well.
Deja vu.
Right now, Lukewarm taking a whole bunch of damage taken out by the Accretion. Northwood holding firm in 2 team fights now. This is a big turnaround for the Timberwolves. Moving on forward, Iron at very low health, trying to trade wherever he can. He cannot. Northwood takes yet another fight.
I mean, Northwood's got to have something to change up here. We've seen what they've been capable of in these last 2 rounds. They've been able to adapt to how, Fisher has been playing. I imagine they can do it again.
Moving through, the Sigma's caught in a bit of an awkward position away from his team, but it does force Fisher to turn around, but only Neb will be taken by that. Everyone else from the Timberwolves will fall. So a pretty decisive win for Fisher, but they're keeping the time very competitive. Now both teams are probably even keel with their pace as we head toward the next checkpoint. And I think there's enough time for Northwood to get back and force another full team bank. So Fisher will probably be going south if they do win this team fight.
These colors are confusing.
Sam gets rid of Rocket. Cowman is traded back. That is a big loss for Northwood, losing their tank. It's going to make it a lot harder. They basically have to use the payload as their tank right now. It's the only real cover that they can use. They are draining that time out. I was saying that 2-minute mark. We are passing it just as I say this. So now that was a good amount of time. Remember, Fisher started the second period with 5 minutes, so that's 3 burned down by Northwood, 2 team fights, 1. This team fight right now, though, with that railgun that Lukewarm is using to full advantage, Fisher will win it, but Northwood has already guaranteed that if this goes into overtime, they'll have more time to work with.
For the 3rd time this game, I believe we've seen a Lucio be into the Sigma Graphitic Flux, and it's just, wow. This team coordination from both teams is incredible. Look at that. Look at that TP. Oh, wow. I wouldn't even imagine you could do something like that.
Window placed down on the high ground. Lukewarm finds the bad side of that, has to move back to get a health pack recharge. Fisher has also spent their immortality field. Northwood gotten rid of a lot of defensive utility for Fisher, but they haven't gotten any picks. In fact, it's Grapes and Lukewarm from Fisher who actually get a few picks onto both DPSs from Fisher, but the supports come back in from Northwood to make this a fight. They pick up a double of their own. Cowman falls from Northwood. Now that the tank is gone, Fisher trying to move forward, but the supports just hang in there, still manage to trade back and forth and take even more time away from Fisher. We're now down to 2 minutes, 5 seconds left on Fisher's timer. They have a 1-minute deficit to Northwood if things go to overtime, at least.
I mean, it's got to be like 2 minutes, considering like they've got to even push the car all the way to the final checkpoint. And with this defense that we're seeing right now, oh no. No, 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 no.
Northwood beat a little day late and a dollar short, basically. I mean, it does help Haven and Vega to be able to survive and actually spend the photon barrier. So I guess that, you know, it's a little later than they wanted, but not too late. It's enough for Northwood to still hold the point. We do see a last-minute swap also on the support. Well, nope, it's back to the Baptiste. I was saying we might see some time for the Kiriko, but nope, it's going to head back over to Bap.
Back to Bap. Back to the Baptiste. I tried.
This one Blizzard also is huge for Northwood.
Absolutely.
Just got to wait for this choke to be pushed. Overclock will be brought out. Oh, and he takes out Sim, though. That's the Blizzard gone for the Timberwolves. Huge opening for the Fisher Falcons. There's just Cowman left. A full team wipe. Fisher now moving toward the final parking spot. We are heading into overtime, but there is one touch at the very end to try to get as much time as they can off of Fisher. It's time bank. Vega comes in and manages to actually take out Iron. Are you kidding me? On the stagger, the Timberwolves fight back and actually win the fight against Fisher.
It's, wow. What a hold.
That is insane. You have got to be patting that Lucio on the back. Went up against Fisher's tank.
That Lucio, that May, that hold, unbelievable.
Well, now there's no time left on the timer. This is going to be the final team fight. And already Northwood start things out right, taking out the tank for Fisher. Landon follows that up with a pick onto Rukit. And now Neb and Grapes fall as well. Northwood has pulled off a reverse sweep against Fisher and claimed the championship. And I am officially going to declare Circuit Royale, as far as this semester, cursed.
It's cursed. Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I need to see this. Yeah. Wow.
It looked like Fisher was going to run away with it, but Northwood comes back and is now the champions in both Rocket League and Overwatch as far as the Open Premier Division is concerned. Congratulations to Northwood for a thrilling final Overwatch match. That was one heck of a fight.
The reverse, Man, that was so good. That was amazing.
Well, we want to remind everybody that LA Comic-Con is producing an expansive and exciting gaming, esports, and anime experience in the West Hall of the Los Angeles Convention Center, December 1st through 1st. Your pass gets you access to gaming stage tournaments, stream studio for your favorite streamers, free play zone with the hottest PC and console games in the mix, with over 10 indie games with devs on site. You can also use the promo code LEVELUP for $5 off your gaming pass. And of course, we also want to thank Odyssey Mushroom Elixir, one of the newest sponsors in NA Star League throughout this season. Odyssey Mushroom Elixir, it is your journey. Well, I'm satisfied with how the Open Premier finals go. Don't know how Varsity Premier is going to turn out, but Open Premier, the finals have been extremely exciting games.
That was phenomenal. You know, Fisher has a thing about dragging things out to game
but
5.
not in the way they were thinking. Maybe my suspicions are going to be placed onto Northwood in the future.
Man, yeah, I can't imagine. I think Northwood just played it really well. I think they adapted in the most perfect way they could have possibly adapted to that situation.
We want to give a thank you to all the sponsors who helped bring NA Star League to you this semester. That's Extra Live Dunkin', Pizza Hut, Alienware, Odyssey Mushroom Elixir, LA Comic-Con, Army ROTC, and Mavix Gaming Shares, who brings you the top 5 plays from every game, which we will show you right now. Mavix is your journey. Let's take a look back at that incredible final.
Oh man, it looked so pretty when they did that. It looked so nice, and then they like tease Echo at the end. That was
The Doom Fist trying to get back, takes a whole bunch of damage, and the Tracer doesn't let him get away. Beautiful play by Fisher. Northwood now is just trying to stall. I think he's still behind his shield, so he'll live to fight another day.
I'm not quite able to make it up to the bridge. Just gonna chip damage this Ash a little bit.
Sam picks up a nice double onto Grapes and Neb. With both the supports gone for the Falcons, the others are falling. This Winston needs to get out of there.
Either way, both teams do have 3 ults.
One of those ults is going to be spent. Bob comes out onto the field. We also see the copy being brought out by the Echo onto the Ana. So we could have a nano boost be brought out very soon here. Interesting. Bob will be brought out by Fisher to make this a 6v5. Mikey is the first to fall. That's absolutely huge for the Falcons. The Tracer has to recall on out of there. Raid boss mode has been brought out with the rally, giving Fisher even more to work with. And that is a primal rage that is paying.
They've been capable of in these last 2 rounds. They've been able to adapt to how, you know, Fisher has been playing. I imagine they can do it again.
Moving through, the Sigma's caught in a bit of an awkward position away from his team, but it does force Fisher to turn around, but only Neb will be taken by that. Everyone Welcome back to the NACE Star League studio. We currently have Vega, a member of the team from Northwood who just won the championship in the Open Premier Division, who's joining us for a little bit of a post-game interview. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
Well, we have a few questions that we want to ask you. First of all, take us through that series game by game. Got off to a bit of a slow start, but then once you got off to Flashpoint, you really ran away with it. So what was kind of the main thing that turned around during Flashpoint in that fight?
Well, we got to Flashpoint, I don't know, we sort of just winged it, because we don't scrim at all. Like, we don't practice at all, so we just put Donnie and our Calman on, to be honest, I think we got a little lucky because they didn't play Reinhardt, but it ended up working well.
That's fair. I mean, one thing stuck out to me specifically, and I guess that was like the thought process behind going to Paraiso. I mean, like, instead of like the usual King's Row or Eichenwald that we so often see.
Yeah, so we went to Paraiso because we didn't scrim at all. We knew they scrim, but they didn't practice on maps. So we thought it'd be a good pick, and I think it was a good pick, but we made like some bad mistakes there.
Well, it's Dallin's favorite stage, so
I mean,
you certainly made him happy.
Yeah, that's fair, and I also just love this, like the surprise factor of like picking a map or a character that like you don't usually see that very often. So it just like puts everyone like, wait, what, and then everyone just.
Yeah, no, we were super surprised to play like a Winston mirror there. We thought they would play Orisa or Sigma. So that's why actually I started on Alari on defense because we thought they'd play like Sigma, but.
Always nice to see those counter picks brought out, surprising everyone a little bit. But I want to talk about just now looking at the end of the season. Yesterday, Northwood won in Rocket League in Open Premier. You now have the championship in Overwatch. Is that all that you're planning, or is there still any main goals for the season that your university is looking to pull off? Or are you all good and ready to go into the holiday break with a few championships?
I think we have one more tournament in December. I'm not really sure what tournament it is, but I know we play on like December 6th, so.
All right, well, you're definitely going to want to tune in, follow Northwood, because they are making a name for themselves. They've got 2 championships under their belt. Thank you so much for joining us, Vega. Congrats on your win.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, that is going to be it. This is Jem and Dallin who will throw it out for NACE Star League. Finally, we get to close it out on our thinking chairs and just close it out for the week.
It kind of looks like the thinking chair.
It does. It actually does. And I had to just one more time take a potential reference that you could have thrown out. My night is ended perfectly. Dallin is Dallin, and we will leave you for tonight. But tomorrow, you're going to want to be sure to tune in because we have got Valorant, not only Open Premier, but Varsity Premier as well. The top tier of NACE Star League competition, and a champion will be decided tomorrow. So do not go away for that. Make sure to tune in tomorrow, and then also make sure to tune in December 2nd and 3rd because we will have the rest of the Varsity Premier Finals live at the Boise East State Esports Arena in Boise, Idaho for the nationwide championships. The best colleges will be competing in a whole bunch of games: Smash Bros, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Rocket League. You're not going to want to miss it. So much coming up for you this week on NACE Star League. But as for now, we'll sign off. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Get to this choke point. First, try to peel off that Orisa, who's way off to the side, far away from the other team. And the Falcons start circling more like vultures at this point. Whole bunch of cooldowns having to be spent to try to keep that Orisa alive. But it is only a matter of time. Now Northwood increasing on the point, and Neb uses it to take out Vega. Now Northwind is down one of their healers, and Fisher claims more territory. The main wall splitting off Mikey. Northwood has to spend their immortality field to keep him alive, and the resources are just dwindling for the Timberwolves.
Well, actually, I can't quite tell. Yeah, all right, never mind. Yeah, you're gonna need good luck again. You're gonna need good luck. I thought he was instantly dead, but they just keep giving him so much heals. He's becoming a force.
Hit him with the sleep dart. Give him a bit of he thinks is going to be able to use it fast. I mean, Put it on Mikey, put a bunch of damage, reducing nano boost going on to tanks a lot as well. Could have extra confidence in your Sojourn to pop off. Right now, Mikey gets the first pick. Sam picks up a double against Fisher. Leaving their tank. Bob will be brought out by Fisher to make this a 6v5. Mikey is the first to pull. That's absolutely huge for the Falcons. The Tracer has to recall on out of there. Raid boss mode has been brought out with the rally, giving Fisher even more to work with. And that is a primal rage that is paying how much time they need to hold. Taking advantage of all the high ground that these rooftops give. Mikey hanging out, but immediately pushed back by that Brig. But Sam doing work as the Echo creates an opening for Northwood so they can move forward. Meanwhile, the rest of Fisher wonder about that move because now the rest of the team has to fight. But this Ashe is shown, as soon as I say, it's shown that, hey, they're fine with or without their tank. They're just going to throw out their dynamite, land a few headshots here and there, and take care of business.
There we go.
Boom!
There
That's
we
a
go.
triple. They will have the primal rage to spend as soon as that Winston